It would be quite cool. Is D4 the best first move? Because you can do the same thing they did last game. C3, knight C2, bring the knight to the middle. You know, like...
It opens the line of the bishop and the queen as well very nicely.
White can castle on the first move.
Oh, that was my favorite part of the players' meeting. The arbiter set up a position where you can castle on the first move, but then he added, you can do that, but it's not forced. And it's actually usually a mistake.
That's what they should do, right? They should just cough. The opponent looks away. You castle, and then the opponent doesn't know you've made a move until.
It's like playing your, I don't know. There's like Russian card game. It's like playing your biggest trump card first. It's like you got to save your assets.
Burak is a great game.
I could have saved Tommy a game yesterday.
When do we ever get to see this, where the players are analyzing? Where you've got Hikaru, Fabi, Vincent, Shabakiri just sitting the position before they start. So are they all
together?
All together.
At least as of yet, they're not exploring the D4. I haven't seen the D4 opening yet in their discussions.
And
well,
the idea,
okay, there's a D4.
On the second move.
Whoa.
Had to be Lev.
They're trying to take it into King's Indian defense, one of the most popular openings in chess. They're trying to normalize.
Vincent is going to put a bishop on G2 because he can't look at a King's Indian without a fianchetto.
Okay, so the table with Hikaru are playing white. This group here
playing with the black pieces.
Playing the black pieces, just so everybody has some understanding of which side they're trying to prepare for.
Best friend. It's like college orientation day one. It's like
Levon, you mentioned, right, that he really believes in breaking the symmetry early on. And look at the move he keeps pointing out to, the c-pawn moving 2 steps forward, so that if black plays copycat chess, then white's the one that strikes in the center first, with the d-pawn moving forward, not allowing the symmetry anymore. We might be seeing 1c4 in some of the games. I like it.
Yeah. He also talked a lot about getting the pawns in front of the rooks and then the adjacent pawn forward in the interview that I saw with him. So yeah, first identifying symmetry and where symmetry is bad for his opponent and forces an imbalance, and then of course opening lines for those diagonal pieces and allowing the rooks opportunities to come up and lift.
Well, fascinating. As they're analyzed, they're about 30 moves deep already. I'll just add quickly that something that has happened to me when I lose quickly in freestyle, I can blunder, of course, but also you can underestimate very easily how quickly you can get attacked. You might think, well, the knight's on A1, B1, I'm not in a big hurry, I can fortify my pawn structure, and suddenly, Fedoseev has opened the center and all his pieces are attacking your king. So it can come really fast, and the fact that you can castle and rearrange the king and the rook, it's sort of a futile, it's a pro forma. I'm making my king safer. No.
One of the things about freestyle chess that you need to notice early on is which are the undefended pawns in the position. And I can spot 2, right? To your point, just to follow that up, Daniel, you've got the A pawns that don't have a defender and the H pawn. And very often, the knights can actually jump really quickly and start targeting those pawns. In this case, that B1 knight landing on B5 could actually come in with a double attack. Knight C3, knight B6, knight B5, 1-0.
Yeah. And while, perhaps not an early opening idea, but it just feels, I'm looking at the king position.
No more.
But these players are much more creative. They do kind of hate the symmetry and kind of double fianchettos where both sides fianchetto their pieces. They just, as an analogy to normal chess, they do become a bit drier, a bit more dull. And I think especially in the rapid, we're going to see the players try to be a bit more creative here. So yeah, interesting to see them go for these complicated positions already 3-4 moves in, judging from what we've seen on the camera.
Yeah, really interesting stuff, right? Levy, you know Hikaru really well, and he's just out of this a really complicated, crazy game against Magnus, getting ready. What do you think is going on in his mind right now, and how's he feeling about this position and his just the next game coming up?
No, I think David knows Magnus on a much better level than I know Hikaru. I would just say that losing to Magnus is not like it's not sounding the alarm bells. And losing one game to start an event definitely sucks, but okay, 3 other people just had to do it. The most important thing is just to continue to score some points. You can draw games, but you just can't keep losing. If you start 0 out of 2 or 0 out of 3, it very quickly spirals out of control. I would know, it's happened twice to me in tournaments now, and somehow you just like can't play your way back into it. And the problem here is, in traditional chess, let's say you lose the first game. Game 2, you just make a draw with white.
Stop the bleeding.
Yeah, and here it's nonsense. You could be just dealt complete nonsense every round and keep losing. Then that's the problem. But I think Hikaru played very well last game.
I think so as well, and I think it's also important to take that step back and kind of remind ourselves of the overall format of the tournament when it comes to the approach of the players, right? This is just a group stage where top 8 are going to qualify to the bracket. And while, yes, you'd love a higher seed, have that opportunity to pick your opponent and everything, end of the day, all you have to do is beat 2 people to book a spot to the quarterfinals. So I don't think we're sounding any 5 alarm bells just yet in taking an early loss. Still plenty of room to go for each of these players. It seems like a lot of focus around C4 and D4 in these discussions by a lot of players.
Yep, that's how it happens in normal chess too. I mean, English or D4 are usually same thing eventually.
Speaking of alarm bells, absolutely, just 1 game down, but he is playing Notterbeck in the next round. And that's a great matchup, and not an easy one to face as well for, both these players. Again, what do we make of that? Hikaru versus Notterbeck.
I mean, what I make of it is just the way that the Notterbeck game ended, and it feels like he's out for blood, right?
He always is, James.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. He sensed blood in the water, maybe felt like he had that win, and so even more, maybe, he's going to come in with some aggression.
Especially
really
in rapid chess. He really goes after you. I give you my moment. I'll stop, I promise. I had a funny story. So rapid chess used to be called, when it was introduced in the time of Kasparov, quite recently, it was called active chess. It still has that, you can call it that in Russian, like aktivные шахматы. It's like my old coach would refer to it that way, and I remember it's like, I don't know what to compare it to, some old name for something.
Don't they call it быстрое, like fast?
That's the modern, yeah, but like Sakis would say можно в активные шахматы. Like, what?
Oh.
You're speaking Middle English?
Is there even a word for rapid?
Homework, I promise.
Is there a word for rapid? I guess rapid. That's
that's what the young guns say.
That's the cognate, like literal, yeah.
So Kasparov had a famous saying, he was initially skeptical of that name. So he said, active chess, does that mean I play passive chess? And everybody had to laugh because Kasparov made it okay, this is play the laugh track.
Well, we've got Shavakir Sindarov, he's up against Levon Aronian. And speaking of matchups, we've got the 2018 World Championship clash as well in round 2. It's Fabi versus Magnus. How do we even pick a round to focus on? What's our marquee matchup in this one?
Yeah, I'm not sure I like that responsibility of having to choose. I think...
Try a GM.
It's ironic, and I have had to deal with this. You don't want to cover Magnus every single game, but if you don't, the fan base will just tell you to cover Magnus every single game.
It's a community.
Why are you covering?
You know what?
Community stream levy. Community decides. Yeah. How about that?
Yeah.
Let our chat
Let's make them vote.
Oh, that always
on YouTube, probably, right? The YouTube.
You're the king of YouTube. Ask them to vote, and we follow what they want to follow.
Perhaps we can get some input from chat, but in the meantime, I'll just make a declaration and the community can come after me if they don't like my choice. I'd like to go to Sindarov and Aronian because we haven't yet seen either of them up on the big screen for ourselves, and I'd like to see what their opening ideas are. We'll start there, and the community can maybe direct us if they have different ideas.
Your wish is my command.
Let's go.
My command. Commands anything.
You just want to know if it's 1c4.
That's exactly it.
It's 1d4, d5.
It's the queen's fault.
No matter what they gravitate toward.
I did say that. Yeah, d4, d5 again looked nice. I'm learning from last game, right? You have 2 knights in the corner. Knight c3. Okay, not c3, but knight c3.
Mm-hmm. Okay, knight c3, knight b3 is pretty standard when there's knights on a1 and b1.
Yeah.
And bishop f4, g3. So it's here. I think it's quite easy to get your minor pieces out, and then e4. Well, then you'll have to deal with the center. Do you open it? Not. Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna get our boards updated really quickly. We've got the players, their live cams, but the games from the previous round. So let's have that up, and then we can jump into deep dive into the board, our community picks.
Who looks happier on camera?
They do.
They all look pretty content for now. But, Yeah, it's tough to know. It's tough to predict. I know we don't like to predict in general, but my only prediction is there's going to be more decisive games, more blood on the board. Okay, we've got some action here.
There we have it.
Okay. Interesting. This one also symmetry, also normally a queen's pawn opening. D4.
Bishop F4, Javawa London coming up.
Surely, Tanya.
Position 518, and that's what we'd call it in that. But this is freestyle chess as we get it all set up. Are we going to see a central break?
Yeah, that was the first time they ever showed up.
Yes, we have it, Daniel.
They were not. Okay.
Fantastic.
Okay,
we're in.
Excellent.
We're taking a look at Magnus and Fabiano, also electing to go for that D4, D5 opening.
B6.
Very odd move.
There it is. Yeah, we see the setup for the fianchetto on the black side, and now the bishop slides out in development, putting pressure onto that pawn that's undefended on C7. Or no, it is defended by the knight. See, there you go. Already.
It's tough.
Piece placement is going to play tricks on us.
Knights in the corner do have a purpose.
They do have a purpose.
It might never move again the rest of this game. Magnus's knight, but
Bishop A6.
yeah. I was going to say B6 is an odd move if he's going to fianchetto that bishop behind his central pawn, but clearly this was his idea, Magnus. And okay, I just realised that both sides have indeed castled. We missed that one. Yeah.
Pin count.
So the kings, they're fixed where they are. We don't need to worry, at least as opposed to the previous round. Don't need to worry about all those long
Wait, why not?
castles.
Wait, can't white castle?
No, white did castle.
They have castled already.
King on G.
Oh, I was inverting the king to F1 and the rook to G1.
Yeah, I guess
Imagine if you could do that forever.
I guess they both castled on move 1 for the memes. G3, yeah.
So our community has
G3 feels
spoken.
so-
Long cloud of freestyle. Sorry, go on.
No.
It's like the equivalent meme move,
Yes.
which they know is not good, but you know.
It's funny,
Have to do it.
speaking of the Bong Cloud of freestyle, if the king and queen switch up in the starting position, we might see that, the e-pawn moving. But we'll get to that when we do. Right now, the community wants us to get to the Hikaru.
It's always 5 a.m. in New York, and I'm like, is Danya streaming? What's going on? But I feel like you've had like a lot of battles late at night. There's a rook on D4. What is happening?
Yeah, I was going to say, the community's wish is our command. We're over to the Hikaru and Noterbeck game. Important to note, again, on this board, both players have castled as well, so their kings are now in those fixed positions. But
Sorry, but this doesn't this look dreadful for white? What is the idea?
Exactly.
Well, you gotta move some pawns.
Yeah.
Do you
like,
have the power to do an action replay
Yeah.
for us?
I do.
Okay, should we see how we got here?
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's do it.
Yeah. Okay, so we started here. I have no idea what move we're on. That's the thing. It's like it could be 20 moves. So let's go. It was D4. So far normal. Okay, so you're not moving the.
Castles, as expected, yes.
Yep. Okay. E5 makes perfect sense. And this is the thing, right? You open the center up. Looks like black's not developing, but sometimes the order of operations is most important. White's develop more pieces, but Philidor, told us that something's the soul of chess. Okay, but knight b6 defends the pawn. Black's next move is knight c6, and that rook is getting demoted to, the basement floor.
Yeah. What?
E4 will still be met with knight c6. I don't know. I'm a skeptic for now.
Yeah, and I want chat to fill in the blanks for us. Something's the soul of chess is what you said. Let's see how many people actually know about that. What is the soul of chess? Don't answer it. Chat will tell us.
Oh.
Can you play
I was gonna ask
bishop?
Philidor, but
If you play
he's dead.
bishop g5, does black play f6 blocking the bishop, or rook d6 to play rook g6? Like, this is the absurd thing. Bishop g5 is just a nice tempo winning move, but what I've learned in this format is sometimes bishops are worth as much as rooks. Like, you can just give them away and launch counterattacks.
Bishop f4, c6, bishop takes b8.
Yeah, like
a6, bishop c7. Just like making shashlik out of the h2 b8 diagonal.
But that's the thing, right? If you rook lift, bring that rook to that d6 square, the bishop can slide back one square and start putting more pressure.
there's
Step
your G5
one,
that you
good
asked for.
job.
This is-
Good call, Levy.
We're going to make a compilation of all. I mean, what I always say is if they make the same moves I think of, it's either a good sign for me or a terrible sign for them. So,
and as Magnus considers
Again,
his next
14
move,
wins is like, he just has it against everybody.
yeah.
that's his marker
Magic
against
number.
everybody. I don't think it'll surprise anybody that Magnus comes out on the winning side of these head-to-head graphics.
Judging by the smirk, it certainly doesn't surprise Magnus. He's like, I know what's going to be displayed.
Yeah.
It's now the question, rook d6 or f6?
The rook d6, bishop slides back, hits the rook again. C7 tender as well.
But same with f6, bishop f4.
Yeah, that was sort of my question.
And then that bishop on h8, by the way, let's not forget.
But then maybe
Sinking deeper.
I have a feeling you can play f6, and then later you can play g5 and f5 maybe, and just go completely control white's center with your advanced pawns. I don't know.
Noterbeck
brave.
going for ambitious ideas.
No,
I mean, knight b8, by the way, can also come out to a6 to protect c7, and then that would also prepare c5. So I've been fixated on the knight coming to c6 hitting the rook, but also knight a6.
Also, I just realized we've got the wrong players in front of us. I want to see Hikaru and Noterbeck. We've got that position on. If we switch up our cameras to them, maybe we can get a body language read. Who is the body language expert in the house right now?
Definitely not me.
Chat.
Chat will tell us who's sweating and who's not.
There's an account on Twitter that I really enjoy, which always shows face-offs of UFC fighters, and then writes a detailed breakdown of everything they did as they looked each other in the face. And it's always complete. Like, it's sometimes nonsense, and sometimes I'm like, do they know what they're talking about? So, yeah, guys, I don't know. Body language. What are we thinking?
And where they're looking. I mean,
and we still need updated boards on this screen, please. All the games are over. Like, this is.
But that's not even the big. Like, yeah.
It's a beautiful display, but all the games are the wrong games.
Not spoiling any results there. Those are the previous matches.
Live in the moment.
Back into the.
We can also.
There we have it. The game and the players.
Yes.
Okay.
This is what we love.
Yes.
Oh wow, they're twinning each other, by the way. Mirroring. Head and hands.
Lot of head and hands.
That's a rare pose.
David, what's your pose?
Should be that one. I mean, I realized
if they're doing it, it must be working for them, right?
I realized a few minutes ago I was sitting the same as you, so I had to switch it up.
Yeah.
I don't know. I really like what Hikaru's done, actually. Like, despite the fact he's not playing with pawns in the center, which we were saying maybe is the recommendation, especially for those new to freestyle chess, try and find some landmarks. Here, he's at least trying to play actively, trying to kind of force himself to get some juice going after that defeat against Magnus. And
f6.
there we go.
Ooh, wait, did someone say a bishop? What bishop? That h8 piece? It's dead for a while.
Just wait. It's cryogenically frozen. It'll g5 and f5. It'll eventually have its moment in the sun.
Yeah,
that's true. He did kind of lock that h8.
I don't think e4 is going to happen anymore. Maybe g3, and it's in Hikaru's interest to keep the center closed. Just because Noterbeck's pieces have a lot of spring potential energy. Like the knight comes out quick, d4 can happen. It's still precarious for white, but I mean,
maybe white shouldn't even engage in a fight. Like maybe white can play somehow e3, but you know black's knight is going to come to c4, and how do you defend your pawn?
Back it up, bishop back to.
Maybe you just don't defend it. Maybe you just give it up. Like maybe it doesn't matter.
Bishop c1.
Yeah, bishop c1 maybe.
Mention,
yeah.
But don't play it.
Yeah. I mean,
wow, like look at this just looks absurd.
Well, he's playing against that knight c6 jump, and maybe wants his own knight to land on the square, which has just been vacated by the rook.
Levy also, yeah, e3.
Bishop
just control the square.
Bishop f5.
Knight d4.
Yeah, like you can slide it, then you can try to play c5. Maybe like I guess the knight is just in time. It feels like white's position is not that great, but yeah, he somehow holds everything.
Bishop f5, knight d4, bishop g6, maybe g4.
I was looking at g4.
Wait, but then the bishop on h8 is we keep like digging.
Yeah. Bishop g6. Yeah.
There's no bishop there.
It's like I'm still
so
alive.
h6, bishop f5, bishop h7, g5 f5. Like this is just push all the boys and
like the Chilean minor rescue will happen on the king side.
Yeah,
so where is this knight coming? Oh wow.
There we go.
Oof.
Wow.
Tanya would never g5.
Yeah.
It's just not. It's not the move we. It's the first move I thought of because I was like, me attack bishop.
I wouldn't be shocked if the bishop stayed on this diagonal because allowing f5, you know, no meme. Then knight c4, that bishop on h8 gets into the game. It's unpleasant. Bishop c1 to me is the most natural move.
And then knight a1 and knight b1.
Or even bishop e3, by the way, is not that dumb because knight c4 still maybe Hikaru will calculate. I'll let him do the hard part, but d5 will hang.
I will say just how incredible it is to me that we have 7 pawns on the white position still sitting in their original positions while black is just flinging all of their pawns down in the frontal assault.
Yeah, but that's a great point because white's bishop, the rook, no open lines right now. He's got to start moving those pawns. The bishop does fall back to e3, so also be careful of that a7 corner pawn that black has, which is kind of x-raying. This last move by Noterbeck, it takes away a key square for his own knight to jump to. Yeah, I don't know if I'd rather be white or black here. Levy, you said I would never play g5, and that's true because it's a pawn in front of my king. I want to keep everything safe and solid. I don't know how many of you know, but Levy destroyed me in a match well, I now want to say years ago.
It was like 5 years ago, I feel like.
Went all out with the attack. I tried to stay solid and nothing worked.
I think I beat you in bullet. It's nothing impressive. Like I think I was probably losing in the blitz.
I think
I got flagged in the few games where I had a decent position. It's fine, Levy. I'm over it. But you don't have to make me feel better about that.
You lost like the equivalent of just like some practice session, and should we ever play classical, I'm sure I will lose like 80% of the games. So, it's just, I mean, my style of chess is conducive to there being no time for the opponent to think, and in this format, it's
amen.
Yeah, like oh, amen. This is 2,600 feet, eh? Like just.
Have you and Daniel ever had a face-off?
Like in fighting or chess or what?
Both.
On the grounds of this hotel outside. Like,
yeah.
Wait, I mean, I was. But okay.
A chess boxing match. Who wins between you and Daniel?
I don't know. Like I've had some training. He's bigger than me. I don't know.
Yeah.
Who's gonna bite?
Who's got the reach advantage?
Yeah, he's got a crazy reach. I might have to dirty box.
I mean, I actually got an entire studio to train, but I forgot to pay my rent the first month. I got evicted.
Well, while the jury's out on the head-to-head between these two guys, let's maybe check in on the head-to-head between Nodirbek and Hikaru.
For the record, we did not pick that fight.
No, it was thrust upon you.
Wow, both of these guys just can't win against each other, huh?
I know, it's a struggle.
Yeah.
Searching for that first victory.
I think they've played like 3 games against each other.
I think they'll find Bobby Fischer before their first win. Yeah.
Just shows different generations, right?
Yeah,
but they've never played?
Yeah, they've never played. Or maybe draws. Do we have any?
Draws.
We didn't have any.
Because we don't care about that. Draws.
Yeah, we don't care. Who cares about draws?
I mean, if we had draws, it'd be like 14 wins for Magnus, 6 for Fabi, 36 draws. Like it would be some insane number.
Levy, if these two played against each other, I wouldn't be surprised if draw is like the least likely result, just given their style of play. Maybe they haven't faced each other in this format.
The generations, it totally happens often now.
It's classical, and let's not forget, Hikaru hasn't played much classical. So the only place they can play is like Norway chess. I don't know if they've ever been paired there.
Nodirbek didn't make it to the candidates.
Yeah, no candidates. Grand Swiss and maybe
Title Tuesday.
Yeah, Title Tuesday.
Bullet Brawl, Freestyle Friday.
So I only want to jump in here because there's a lot of time being chewed off of the clock here as Hikaru is considering his next move following the c6. What are maybe the considerations here?
I think without getting too chessy, it's just pawn breaks. He lacks any pawn breaks at all. He cannot open the position up. I mean, his bishop in the corner, that white light square bishop still trapped. There we go. He does open it, but there's pros and cons to this. The black light square bishop can now zoom out the whole way in the diagonal and force an exchange. I mean, he's just...
And you're staring into a pawn chain with that.
But maybe not for too long. Because what if the idea is to put that bishop on f3 and land it on h5?
Yeah, but actually now knight c8, I really like the idea. Knight c8 and put that knight on d6. And somehow, yeah, first we do all of this stuff, but I really like the prospect of black just bringing all the knights slowly to the right side of the board. This is a big maneuvering game, this one. Yeah. It's like very Anatoly Karpovian.
Wow,
just
back to c1.
Yeah, now knight c8. Knight c8. I really love this idea. But
is that just, are we preparing for an e4 push?
Yeah, I think that's the only essence. I mean, no pawn breaks, no plan, right, for Hikaru Nakamura. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Nodirbek try and clamp down on that square, maybe bring one of his rooks across to line up with the white queen. Something to try and...
h6 and f5. So nice.
I was going to say, if black had the pawn on h6 and could play f5, black is like...
In Washington Square Park, you can, but...
Yeah, just 2 moves at the same time. But yeah, it's all about e4, guys, right? Like this is the move. If it happens, it will maybe...
It can happen anyway. I mean, the point is not necessarily to recapture, it's to open files. So some pawn break is very tempting. Rook h1 and h4, I wouldn't be shocked.
But he's reacting. He's stopping that e-pawn from moving forward. He might even stop it forever with the f-pawn moving 1 step ahead for Nodirbek in this position.
Yeah,
go
f5 square is what Hikaru's looking. I played him enough in Title Tuesday. No, before I even blink, there will be a knight on f5 and a pawn on g4.
By the way,
do you get that in time? Sorry,
no, I was just going to say, yeah, knight d4.
And that'll be like a
C5?
cockroach, you know, just
knight f5?
Yeah.
Knight f5, rook e5, g4. Is that what you want?
Yeah.
Hikaru did that thing again, like that weird...
It's coming. The knight on f5, like you said.
And by the way, then g4 to like f4, g4, h4? Like somehow white is doing very well.
Okay, queen g6, like black...
g4.
Knight e5. No. I'll hit that.
Rookie, I think...
Knight f5 is the tempo, and then h3.
No
it's just
time.
ridiculous. Like
No, maybe knight c8.
That's what I've been trying to, yeah.
So we're basically trying to say that this is a fight for the F5.
Ah!
Queen G6 on the board, G4 played as well.
Noterbeck is very good at finding creative solutions.
Thank you. So me too. Oh, sorry. Oh, no.
So he'll say H5 first.
H5.
There we go.
Knight F5.
Soften it up.
It's all about getting to that
Rook
knight
H7.
square.
Knight F5.
But okay, where is attack? H3?
You have to play H3 and then you trade and go put that knight on the central square targeting G4.
F3? Where's the attack?
Stop saying good moves fast.
like
Noterbeck is
this
wondering the
format.
same thing.
It's so much easier to make their moves. You know, you just sit here, just say.
Well, okay, so help me understand here. This knight f5 move, great, great position for the knight, but can't we just undermine this pawn that's protecting it with our h5 pawn?
Now we'll play H3.
Trying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. And so basically, somehow the coordination, because of the starting position of the pieces, black is 2 to 3 moves away at minimum from getting rid of white's knight. This was the entire risk of the strategy that Noterbeck played with his 2 kingside pawns, which is what we said Tanya wouldn't play. Because Tanya has a sense for stuff like this, and she would not subject herself to this. Like,
Look,
I actually like
versus
black's
Carlsen for a
position. Let's
second.
do it. Let's do it. Let's jump in.
Trust me.
wow. What is this?
Fabi's apparent. I mean, I am actually not seeing the bar, but okay.
Okay, it looks
Now
like
I-
Bobby is much better.
Oh my goodness.
I just pass pawn, and Magnus's pieces are snuggling in the corner.
Again, this bishop on h8 seems to be a recurring theme.
I mean, 1 bad piece is enough, but Magnus has 2 bad pieces. We joked about his knight in the corner a few minutes ago. Magnus just forgot to develop that piece. He's on the brink here.
Yeah, like they are minor pieces, and he's not up a piece. Like the first thing you think when you look at a position, like okay, he's up a piece. This is some positional sack. No, both sides have in fact 3 minor pieces.
Not even up a pawn.
What's Magnus cooking up here? Because Fabi's thinking in a position where I would have. Well, okay, CD knight takes d. What's the big deal?
You got this tricky threat of G5 in this position, hitting that knight on A1 and the bishop on F4. You have to watch out for that as white.
Rook e7 is also a move because somehow the d pawn is held
But then
by the knight on A1. I'm not talking about the stake sauce.
Then maybe black can play like C4, C3, D2.
It does feel like the kind of position Magnus could turn around. Like momentum, if Fabi lets one of the pieces out, he might get a bit upset, a bit triggered, and then things could spiral, right? So you need to keep control here and now.
Yeah.
David, he's not actually going to let that D pawn stay alive. I mean,
Yeah. Wow. I kind of still like. I mean, what else can you play except C4?
Dynamite move there.
That's what they were analyzing at the start. It was actually this position, c4.
Yeah.
okay, but you guys got to break this down a little bit. Why is our evaluation bar giving such a huge advantage to Fabiano?
This is, I think just Magnus's pieces suck, and Fabi has a actually much more dangerous pawn because
The d5 pawn.
Yeah, because it's got a lot of support from the bishops, and I mean,
a plan.
Yeah, there's a plan.
I think it involves eventually having a queen on the board. I think we can all get behind that.
Which is why I keep saying C4 because I don't see another move for black.
Right.
I don't.
Yeah, and that is a dead knight over there on A8.
Can we take a 5-second Gukesh just to make sure we're just not missing any like big moments? I sometimes have a 6, like without looking at the board, I just like have a feeling it's in the air. Something's in the air.
He has a great opponent for it too. Firouzja's always down for a fight.
At any hour of the day in time control.
So white's got no pawns on the left side of the board. That's 2 extra pawns for black. But Gukesh is playing for piece activity. Is it enough compensation? Is Ali Reza's king in any kind of danger here?
When you're playing Gukesh, it's like Bogolyubov, the world champion challenger, had a famous quote. When I play white, I win because I play 1d4. When I play black, I win because I'm Bogolyubov. It's like, he doesn't have pawns on the queen side. No worries. Neither do you.
Gukesh has picked up one of them, and the queen is also eyeing the other one. Needs to stay connected to the knight on b3.
Just the casual hanging rook.
And a casual hanging knight in some positions.
He doesn't want to give up the file.
Also, black is a pawn up, just low key.
I would.
Super low key.
It was 2 before the last move.
Yes.
It does feel like the kind of position, though, that Alireza can just give back his extra pawn at some point, consolidate, trade all the pieces off the board. Pretty much everything will just be played on one half of the board, and there we go, rooks exchange.
You've just described my 10-year life plan. It's like.
By the way, Hikaru's under a
help.
minute. If you want to step back to that one, as this looks like Gukesh will pick up the 2 pawns, David.
Yeah, this is sort of unstably stable, but this is unstably unstable.
Wow.
45 seconds in this absolutely insane position.
No sacrifice, kind of.
What? Wow.
Pawn takes knight.
Yes.
I guess pawn takes f3 check.
But he might play it anyway because this knight is so strong that it might be worth a queen sacrifice. Or not.
Oh, and then you get, okay.
No, he's going to just, he takes the
But
center
now,
pawn.
somehow Noterbeck, again, he's done this thing, knight d7, knight e5, and he's like, I got one too. Or knight c4, knight e5.
Okay, big trades.
Hey?
H-file's open. A queen and a rook line up there, then there are ideas of checks.
No, but I think white is still...
Just slide the rook on f1 over and look for the trade on h1?
No, you don't have to. There's no threat.
Not yet.
There's
Maybe a bit later though, definitely.
Yeah. But
That knight on f5 is an absolute beast.
At queen f7. Oh, whoa. Okay.
There it is.
Bishop takes. No. Queen c7 and queen c4 are both threats, and these moves are really unpleasant in time pressure.
Yes. I like that c7 square eyeing that h2 point.
James, rook h1, I would have considered it.
Sorry, was there bishop takes g5 ideas?
But fg, I thought,
Knight
I
h6.
guess a lot of.
Yeah, you get a lot of... Okay.
A lot of pieces
A lot
for
of
the queen.
goodies in the bag.
Queen steps in. It's a queen trade being offered.
Wow.
The head to the side means he's going to take it.
How do you have all
I
these
like here.
reads
That's our
of-
body language expert right there.
Also because he has no other moves to not lose a pawn.
Exactly. That's the real reason.
He can play rookie one.
It's like the spoon benders who.
Oh, he does!
Oh,
You don't know anything about him. You don't know him, Danya. You don't know
I
anything.
said he will not trade the queen.
Fake news. Yeah, rookie one is a nice stabilizing move, though.
So Noterbeck traded the queens.
But now he has to play knight
Knight
c4.
d5. Oh,
Oh.
you're right.
Okay, well...
Well, knight comes in. That e5 square is a juicy one to get to the
Strike
g4
two.
weakness.
What do you play?
But now the white knight is actually just doing nothing. It looks nice and pretty. It's like a nice statue, but it's in the middle of a park where loads of stuff's going on around it. And
And a healthier pawn structure for black as well. You know, white's weaknesses on e4, g4 are easier to get to for Noterbeck.
Yeah. Huge turnaround here.
I think it's equal.
Guys, it's time to leave.
Clock as well.
Knight g3, knight h5. It's time to get out. You go to the other outpost and try to target something.
But Hikaru's just not in top form. Against Magnus, he was low on time really early.
You can see how thrilled he is.
Yeah.
30 seconds here against 4 minutes. Oof. I
You
fear
shouldn't
for
lose the
Hikaru.
king g3 unless you blunder something big. And also Noterbeck's, he'll press. He will try to light the fireworks, especially after the last game.
Yeah.
By the way,
We're in for something good.
if you put the black knight on e5 and white plays king g3, white ship e3, bishop d4, and take the knight, and then actually I'm not even convinced white is any worse at all.
No, but I would take white here, just in a regular game. I think still. And Hikaru's like, actually, this is not so
Even against Bogolyubov?
Not so bad. Well, I mean, if he's black, I have no chance because he's Bogolyubov.
But Noterbeck, he's trying to create chaos on both sides of the board. With just 40 seconds on the clock, now the A file opening up. A3 might be a tender spot as well.
Okay, 7.
Very
eight.
quick check-in in Fabiano, 5 seconds just to see.
Ooh, let's
if I
go.
may. Oh,
Oh, Fabi won. Fabi
Okay.
beat Magnus.
That just-
Wow, that's
we
a
go.
big one.
okay, but we got to go back to a game that's ongoing. While I'm clicking on different games, time scramble here. Okay.
Okay, on to Gukesh and Ali Reza.
Can hear
20
it.
seconds on the clock for
Gukesh and Ali
Gukesh,
Reza,
what it
let's do
is.
it.
Guys, I think we can hear
Oh,
Fabi and Magnus. Oh,
I like that Magnus chatted after he lost, but not after he won. No giving away secrets. Actually, I think they chatted a little bit, but when you lose in this format, you kind of want to learn. Okay, Firouzja Gukesh. I think Firouzja is in control.
Yeah, Gukesh, 10 seconds on the clock here to make a move.
Tries to be pragmatic.
That white king is just trapped on the back rank, right? There's going to be so many tricks.
Queen lands on d1. He's going to say, "Tata, see you next round."
F.
There's no
To show
stopping
nerves of
Daniel.
steel.
White
It's the wrong
queen is-
tournament.
Some knight c4. Like
Wake up.
How are white's pieces not just all falling?
For now, there's a pawn hanging. The white queen can grab on g5, but
G5.
it's hanging by a thread. Maybe just defend that one and.
You get your
still
queen
stuck.
back then? How do you defend it?
Wait, queen b4?
Ooh.
But
F6 is nice.
Can the queen go to c5, a more active square, try to get in?
He's threatening knight c4, just game over. So you have to make a move here.
no, knight c4, knight d3.
Yeah, knight d3 I was
But
thinking.
you're right. Knight, which will
By
happen,
the
I
way,
think.
knight c4, knight.
We might see it. We might see knight c4.
Knight d3 is
Oh,
calculating
and
this.
at
Give
the
it-
end you have some f5, and like the bishop is somehow trapped. The
Oh,
Which
very
it's
tricky.
happening. Knight c4 is a nice find. The knight on c1 is loose.
And now if you have a check, the queen slides back to
Queen
block the check.
b6 check and queen not F2. Don't blame it.
Queen C2 is also nice.
No, I think Queen. Okay, yeah.
Oh, watch it, Queen
He's
D1.
just encircling him like a Queen F2. There's even knight E3.
But
And you can't go to C1 anymore because the E2 pawn is falling.
When they see the inroads and the avenues, it's like
10 seconds, Daniel.
Borussia is so good at this. Just the pressure is unreal, and it's coming from all sides. F5. The bishop's going to get trapped.
A5.
A5. Yeah. I got a passer.
Forgot about that pawn.
yeah, don't do anything. A5.
How's Hikaru doing in the meantime? Well, no, we got to finish this game. Yeah. Don't worry, I'm not.
Yeah, 18 seconds in the clock for Gukesh.
Yeah, you really want to knock out here with black, right? You want to mate, but just A5. White doesn't have a move. I guess bishop E4 and just try something.
Tricks. Pray for a blunder.
He's looking for the forcing win.
You can play like E3
Or knight,
as white.
even knight D6 and
try
king
to-
G7 positional.
But maybe this is the moment we see F5 on the board to just block that bishop out from the rest of the game. Instead, he falls back with the knight. Has he given Gukesh a chance to turn around?
I hate this move. What?
Yeah.
A retreating move?
I mean, I thought it was pretty decent, but King G7,
that was
that's the idea.
extreme.
Queen takes A7, Queen D1, King F2, Queen F1, King E3, Queen G1, Knight F2, Queen C1.
Everybody got that?
Now there's mate. Queen D1, Queen F1.
Oh my god, he's blundered.
That is a,
Oh my goodness.
a checkmating too.
Okay. Wow.
But he's deadlocked. I mean, he's
Whoa.
dead. Yeah, he's completely lost.
Wow, given an opportunity there with the retreating knight, and unfortunately gives it away.
2-0.
Man. Yeah, that's a massive start there.
On fire.
Let's
go
quickly
back
jump over.
Hikaru, Keimer for the save. We have
Hikaru, let's-
Oh my goodness.
What happened?
I'm sorry, we have to go to Keimer for the save while it's ending.
Ooh, a king on E6. All the majors surrounding
Okay,
it.
it's over. We can go. We can switch.
And that's how quick things can end here in freestyle chess.
Oops.
All right, let's go to Hikaru.
Can we go to Hikaru?
Guys,
Yeah, let's go
I
to
haven't played a
Hikaru.
bullet brawl in a while. Sorry. Oh no, I have gone to. Yeah, there we go.
This one's equal, as predicted.
Yeah.
The knight is no longer on F5.
I mean, the
fallen back.
pawns just feel so ugly for white here.
Look how the roles have changed. The pawn was defending the knight. Now the hunter has become the hunted.
Ah, the knight now
yeah.
defends
Maybe we're
that
the
pawn.
boss now. Whoa.
Whoa.
Rook takes G4.
Oh.
No.
Yeah, he probably will try it.
But then you bring the king up, you hit the rook, forcing it to the 6th rank.
Black
to
is playing
defend
for a win,
F6.
no question.
Yeah.
Only black.
Yeah, because you'll have those two connected passes.
What? Bishop C1.
Around the
Incredible.
king.
Wow.
You drop the rook back. Just kidding.
Oh my gosh.
Great full board awareness there from Abdusattorov.
What a move, right? Just bringing in the bishop. All the toys to the nursery. Bishop C1, a huge threat.
I don't see a move.
Whoa.
Hikaru sees a move. Okay, there's four.
But you could also go. Do you want?
Anyway,
Yeah. Do you anyway
ain't
want to go
stopping
bishop
me.
C1? Yes.
it's like that white gate outside our.
Yeah.
Takes the bishop, takes the knight. The pawns are all hanging. You could go
Or
rook to
B4.
B4, then rook takes pawn. C3,
Yeah.
but that's a draw,
Rook
right?
takes F4.
Yeah.
And that's precisely what is.
Ooh, this is what is happening.
But rook takes B4, rook E4, I would try.
Yes.
And in case there was any question about how good these players actually are, you can see at the bottom of your screens just the accuracy popping up for the game so far. A reminder, this is a chess 960 position that these guys are playing with 90% plus accuracy.
Rabbit.
Just 959.
You're right.
So many names on this
Forgive
thing,
me,
man.
forgive me.
958 after the last
Yeah,
one.
Yes, 958. Now it's 958. We're counting down. By the way,
Repetition.
Nojibek is not setting up the board after this game. He is.
But he's still, I mean, this is very dangerous for white.
No, for sure.
The double rook end games are underrated how dangerous it is for your king. This could be mate very quickly. In fact, it could be mate for either side. White is 3 moves away.
Rook C4.
Rook G3.
Somewhere.
Who's like, yeah.
King H2, King G.
Maybe white should even just.
Oh no, but Hikaru's setting up the mate. He's trapped the black king on the last rank. Now slide the other rook to an open line and start threatening.
For people to rook takes C3, he wasn't playing because the single rook end game is a dead draw, even though he's down a pawn. Maybe
He has to
consider just not, yeah.
now. Or just give checks. You've always got those third rank checks
F5
to
though
bail
is
out.
also a move, which might lose to rook D1.
But you always have the checks on the third rank, right? To bail
Or
out in
FG,
any
yeah,
position.
but he won't play it. He's still trying to find the winning option.
Yeah, that's just not a back for you. Just his brand of chess.
I mean, Hikaru looks upset on the camera, or he did at least a second ago. But I mean, this is a great save from him. He was in big trouble earlier. It felt like on the board and clock. but he's so close to the draw now.
And that's a very important point, because 2 losses in a row in this format, then it really starts hurting. Then you're in danger territory of getting knocked out with 0-2. You've got to get that hot streak in after that.
It's not a Swiss where you get an easier pairing. It's like, nah.
Yeah, you'd love the wins, but you can draw your way through to the quarterfinals. Again, just a reminder, only 2 people getting eliminated here after the round robin.
And it's really anyone's pick who gets eliminated. I mean, in this field, it's so hard to predict. Fedosiev, he had this fantastic run in the qualifiers, just how strong he is at freestyle.
With that being said, I mean, not too bad. I mean, 2 draws, solid start.
Solid.
You know, if you're Weissenhaus, rookie 3, and it's like some sort of repetition. But he will try to take on c3, or at least to win the pawn. That's going to be the last stage of the torture. You know, like, this is the last thing to exhaust before agreeing to a draw.
Right. Don't take on c3 though.
To be clear, this is the last.
तो इस बात को आप अच्छी तरह समझ गए हैं कि पैसे भेजने के लिए यूपीआई पिन एंटर करते हैं, पैसे लेने के लिए नहीं। तालियां। तो आप गर्व से कहो, मैं मूर्ख नहीं हूं।
I mean, draw against the world number 2.
Not yet. No, that's another 50 moves. Like a Title Tuesday, where they keep reducing it to lowest terms.
This is a very easy draw too, and just so folks at home understand why, the Black King, first of all, is completely cut off on the last rank of the board, and second of all, if Black's Rook attacks the pawn, White's King just slides forward, and if the pawns are traded,
can you take on d7?
Yeah, I was getting there. You know, Hikaru's not going to trade the rooks because it's probably losing, but maybe even that is a draw. And now, last but not least, there will be a pawn trade. Rook and pawn versus rook in this type of situation is 99% of the time at this level a draw.
Does it make Hikaru mad that Nodebek is pushing this position?
Probably. Yeah, for sure.
Hikaru would, in a Title Tuesday, he would agree to a draw.
I mean, there's a famous clip of Hikaru, but it's in reverse. It's like the clip where Kobian grabs the queen that he's going to promote, and then Hikaru goes, "Really? Are you serious?" And just like destroys him. This was like vintage Hikaru. So here, you know, imagine Nodebek Hikaru 2 knights versus king. Like,
Nodebek has been in some heated matches. He was in
wait, sorry. Wait. If Gukesh had flagged in the last game, is it a
draw?
It's a draw. So Gukesh could have sat there and stared at Nodebek and ran his clock to 0, and it would have been a draw.
But I mean,
that's the most non-Gukesh thing to do.
His father would have made a move for him before that happened.
And then would Gukesh have lost if that happened? If
that's parental interference. FIDE rules.
Yeah.
It's possible checkmate. It's legally possible to checkmate with 2 knights if the opponent helps. But yeah, I don't know if we're playing FIDE rules here. Of course, controversial topic.
Who? Who are you? Which rules?
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, I saw a few players in jeans earlier.
Yeah.
Okay, this one should be a draw. No pass pawns.
But Nodebek doesn't stop playing. He's gonna make Hikaru sweat it just a little bit more. He's gonna push that F pawn, play the passer.
Yeah.
It's like it's untranslatable, but it's the perfect word. Like to squeeze something, or to like stir a pot endlessly, but without achieving anything. This is what he's doing in this endgame.
Look at Hikaru.
Sassy face.
Yeah.
He's deciding to move.
Son, we both know how this game is going to end.
Yeah, still some maneuvering happening. If we feel we know how this game is going to end, I believe Sindarov is still in play.
Yeah, we should go check.
Oh, never mind.
He lost.
They just ended that.
Oh, sorry, he beat Lavon.
Yeah, Sindarov just took the victory.
Wow.
As we were mentioning it.
Javahir is also 2-0. Or he, yeah, right?
Yes, I think so.
Wow.
We'd have to pull those standings back up as soon as this game ends. We'll have an opportunity to do so.
Okay, so
underdog
and reflect.
Second place in qualifiers, but what a monster! And the chat's going to say Uzbek Sila. That's what they're going to say. They're going to be spamming that. So I always love like Uzbekistan in fighters, Kazakhstan. Like the fans are super passionate.
Very amazing cuisine. Charlotte just got a Uzbek ghost kitchen, and I have been a frequent patron.
Okay.
Of the place.
Get some shashlik and.
People always are surprised. It has more than just fried chicken.
Yeah. All right, Daniel. Please continue the conversation.
Yeah.
About food.
Unfortunately, the position isn't too.
No. I mean, after I made a joke in a interview in New York, but I don't know if I should repeat it because it was the most obnoxious thing I've ever said.
Then you got to say it again.
And I was regretting it the whole day. I promise the last time I mentioned this, after a certain game of the World Rapid, which I will not say, I had dinner the previous night in an Uzbek restaurant, which was very good. There was actually one near the hotel. I ate there like every night with friends. And I said to the interviewer, I couldn't stop myself. I was like, oh, I had Uzbek food last night. As a matter of fact, I just had Uzbek food.
It's anyone's guess who he must have played against.
Don't remember. I can't recall the name. I mean, too many Noterbecks.
This game's still going on?
This game is, so what are we,
I mean... back to chess now.
Yeah, what's happening? What's going on?
So speaking of food and how hungry one might be, well, Noterbek, he's always playing for the win. Is there anything that White needs to watch out for? What are the tricks for Black to try to push here, David?
I think you either trick your opponent into exchanging rooks in a bad situation.
Or King E3, it's a draw, I think, right?
It's a draw, I think.
Or is Capablanca going to...
It'd be a huge flex to trade the rooks here.
Or you accidentally allowed the Black King in around the White pawn, which you should never do. You should just keep the White Rook on the 4th rank at some point or keep checking from the side.
There you go. Now looking for repetition here.
This is instructive for people at home. Like, sometimes you can trade the rooks here, but you would be deranged. Like, there's no reason.
I mean, for people at home,
I would not be surprised if any of them traded rooks.
Like, people should play this on. I should mention. Like,
very good.
Maybe you win this 1 out of 100 times, but that might be the one that gets you.
At my level, somebody wins this 100% of the time.
But James,
this is never a draw at my level.
But this is the thing. Like, if you want to improve,
White wins.
Set this up and defend it against the computer. Like, as a newer player, and it sucks, yes, but you want to get better at chess, like, try doing this, and people will find that, like, the computer will beat you sometimes. Even, like, I will lose this sometimes to the computer. It'll find the one trick, some crazy maneuver, and you'll at least learn how many rich resources there are. But this is why we love chess.
This is a nice defensive resource.
This is not happening here, however.
Yes, this is a nice defensive resource because Black's king is now completely cut off from the defense of the f6 pawn, which means that it is now, like, completely a draw because the Black rook has to play defense, and this is completely
happening here.
So
I'll need a couple.
Hikaru's moving his king for the rest of the game.
Hikaru just grabs a coffee cup. Hikaru's ready to go.
The best and the most instructive way to hold this position now. The king steps on the right side of the board, so it's cut off and far away from the Black king. No way to set up checkmating ideas. The rook on f5 planted on that light square is beautifully placed, stopping any creation of a passed pawn.
How about the other pieces? Oh.
They don't exist.
And Hikaru actually put his badge back on. He was like, yeah, I'm done with this. It's the Kasparov watch situation where you signal to your opponent.
Or against Sevian, Kasparov extended his hand, but he wasn't resigning. He was merely...
That was legendary.
David, you said, you know, how everyone should continue playing these positions. There's so much to learn. But at this level, does it start feeling somewhat disrespectful for Hikaru that Noterbek, he's still pushing? How angry is he getting?
I think he'll pretend he's calm, but inside Hikaru,
he has to call the arbiter to count the 50 moves, right? You don't just get to stop the clock randomly. Or you make 80 moves until you're sure.
No, but I think inside they added screens so the players can see the move count. So Hikaru, if he was sharp, probably looked, but I don't know.
He doesn't care. I think he's just, he doesn't care. He's just like, I'm not going to claim a draw.
At this point, it feels like the Black King is swimming laps in a pool. Just touched the other side, now heading back.
I really don't see Hikaru offering a draw or claiming a draw in this one.
No.
I don't think it's going to happen.
Here it is.
Yeah, he might just do it right now. As I say,
he's going to put the kings on e4 and e5.
He's got a smirk on his face right now, Daniel. Did you see that?
There it is.
Yeah, Noterbek had to be the one to shake hands.
Another? No.
Hikaru should have declined the draw.
That would be hilarious.
In round 1 of a title,
I'd love to see it.
would.
Yeah.
White.
That would be amazing.
Let's analyze the rooking game.
Well, that's 10 minutes of our lives. We're
sorry. They're doing the rest of the players a favor and giving them a moment to breathe before they have to dive into a third rapid game of the day in a brand new position.
In no other sport do we have situations like this, which makes chess very unique. You know, like in all sports, right? Your
prediction. How many moves was this game?
I think we can hear them. I see.
Wasn't so sure, but I also had no time.
Okay, well, here's a bit of a look back. Player faces, interesting perspectives, all of them toiling over what their decisions will be.
And at the end of round 2, we've got Javokir on top of the leaderboard along with Fabi and Arireza, and I have to say that's really impressive. You know, getting that win against Levon, one of the very strong players. He loves this format, Aronian does. Also because of his creativity, I think he really enjoys it. So a big show by Javokir so far.
And we should mention as well, for Javakir, who came through the playoffs, he came in second place, got this last-minute entry. There is this kind of historical precedent of people kind of coming in last minute, doing surprisingly well, even winning tournaments. And I think we'll see that throughout this whole year, this whole season. Just playing these kind of play-ins is going to give you extra practice. The likes of Magnus, he doesn't actually play too much freestyle, we shouldn't forget. It's only these tournaments, but Javakir, he's got the extra match fitness now compared to the others.
Dude, speaking of planes, guys, guess what? Today is Freestyle Friday, so I think this is the perfect warm-up for everyone watching to actually sign up for that later on chess.com.
That's a really good point. Yes, you can get some practice in yourselves at home by loading into those Freestyle Fridays. With
They're like, don't let us spoil, all the GMs of V Pranav and Bordnik. They're like, no, it's okay. You can keep analyzing. You can late join,
Just making sure I have the time right so I could join later.
How about this? In so many ways, we kind of mirror the results of round one, where once again we have 4 decisive games and 1 draw. And so, again, lots of bloodshed here out on the boards.
Again, Noterbeck, the one drawing. No fighting chess from him. Let's kick him out. Yeah, he's not trying hard enough.
Yeah. Well, but as we mentioned, right, in a lot of ways, Hikaru should be happy with that draw, getting half a point on the board after taking the loss in round one. Soon we can get an updated leaderboard. You already mentioned that we have Sindarov sharing the top position currently, which is a fantastic start for our most recent addition to the tournament. Here they are now. Of course, now we've reduced ourselves to 3 players here, holding the top position in a tie. You've got Caruana, Sindarov, and Alireza Firouzja, Magnus Carlsen, Vincent Keimer, as well with 1 win apiece and a point. Of course, Noterbeck with 2 draws also shares that 1 point before we close things out with the final 4. Still 7 rounds to go. A few more today, and we'll close out that round robin tomorrow.
And 2 players not with 0 points. No wins, no draws. They got to start getting those points in if they want their hope. How important is this next round for Levon and Fedus here, right, to keep chances alive? It's still only game 3, Levi, but time slowly and surely starts running out.
Yeah, for sure. At least they have to make a draw, right? Well, which is convenient if they play each other.
Do they?
I don't know, but it would be great. Yeah, of course. 0 out of 3 is. Yeah, look, you just have to get. Not last. I mean, you have to be in the running, and then ultimately, if you tie for 8th, we know that there's a crazy playoff for it. So it's not the end of the world yet. They still have a lot of games. I mean, 7 games is a lot of games to score points, but
you were right. I mean, you get into this here we go again mode, and it cannot be underestimated because you think these players have supreme confidence, and they do, but they're also human. I mean, we recently found out Magnus was human. He said he starts getting nervous. I was like, whoa, you're not made of, silicon?
When Magnus gets nervous, his heart rate monitor from 70 would go to 73. That's like his margin of nervousness.
From a percentage standpoint, that's actually pretty large spike. Yeah.
Quite bad
in terms of the heart rate.
Has the knowing smile. Yeah, I've measured it.
But I think it's a really good point, right? I'm less concerned mathematically, like with what players need to get done here in round 3, right? Every single one of these players still very much alive in the round robin, but I think it is the mental aspect that you start to consider, right? Because as you said, Daniel, and we're all human, and at the end of the day, you start taking a couple losses, maybe some doubts start creeping into your mind. You're looking at the opponents ahead. Maybe you have matchups that you wouldn't consider to be great for you, and that can really start to take a toll on any competitor in any sport.
Yeah, especially when the breaks aren't even that long.
Right.
It's pretty much a sprint today, and they're still finding their footing. Some of the players, it's their first time here.
Well, and how about this? There's not even really, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it feels like there's not really even much of a chance to learn because you're going into a brand new position, right? So it'd be one thing to be able to come out of this round and say, okay, well, let me now study the position for a rematch or for a go again. But no, you're going into something entirely different, so it's almost hard to take learnings from game to game as well.
All gas, no brakes.
All gas, no brakes.
Great
Best way to play chess.
Great channel.
Yes, I do know the channel.
Yeah.
Good way to commentate too.
And I just want to say, Sindarov might be the player of the moment right now with this great start, but Fabiano Caruana, that was a model game, I'm going to say, for freestyle chess. Just kind of showing that bad pieces that start in the corner, just never getting into the game, as Magnus has never did there. That's one to play through for everyone at home a bit later.
Yeah, maybe we can do a quick action replay on that.
Absolutely.
Daniel, it was a big clash. World number 1 against now world number 3, James?
It was a big clash, but I do believe we might be setting up on stage to receive that 3rd position for the day. You can see the players taking their seats. and waiting for the...
Magnus looks very unhappy right now.
It's almost like he lost to Fabian last round.
Yeah.
He is...
Wow, he is really...
He's very grumpy right now.
It's also, you know, mood lighting in there. It's giving him a darker look here, but soon enough.
And the last year's GOAT Chess Challenge had Magnus versus Fabi for the finals.
Yes, I was going to say, you know, there's so much focus on Magnus, but we should not forget that Fabiano has been nipping at his heels in the format of Freestyle Chess in 2024.
903.
2016.
903.
It's going to appear
so just
on the
3
board
less
right
than our
now,
first position of the day.
Is that a prime number? As every year. White over there.
I'm not doing that.
Divisible by 3.
It is, yes.
And all the
I
best.
think we can hear. Oh wow. 903.
Position reveal. Drum rolls.
I mean, again, I would normally turn to Levy for him
Resident
to
savant.
go ahead and lay out the piece positions for us. But
Are the numbers random, or like is 903 similar to 906?
It's going to be very similar. So a lot of the same pieces will start in a lot of the same squares.
They're both divisible by 3.
And it's not rigged? Like,
well, then maybe I need to eat my words from just a minute ago where I say there's not much to learn from game to game. But if there is relative similarity between this position, which we'll see in just a moment, and position 906, then maybe there are.
Are they ordered?
very
Like, I actually have never thought about that. I'm sure it's like the knight is on B1, then on C1, but I've never seen the full arrangement with the numberings.
Yeah,
I just, you know, I let it generate the number and tell me what position it is.
So the closer the number is, the more similar the position
That's right.
gets.
Yeah. And it's normally the pieces that start on the queen side, so for white, so the left side of the board that are more similar and they move along. I only know that because I write a newspaper column and I had to research what number certain positions were, and there we go. White king, white rook in the corner.
In the corner.
Just where they were earlier.
Yeah.
Okay.
And look at that Fabi with that same idea. You know, the rook next to the king, you don't need to castle. The rook can be activated with the pawn moving forward.
Yeah. So, and the major difference here is that the knights have slid 1 square in, and instead we have a bishop shoved into the corner there.
You know, like nose goes. Here's like, if you beat Magnus, you get to stand and make and everyone's like, yep, that is the best move.
F7 pawns not defended. Watch out for threats against those pawns once the knight come into the game.
But actually, it is quite different, because the first position was bishop f1, bishop e1. Yeah. So the bishops were in the center, right?
Yeah.
So it is different enough, I think.
It's just the king placement that's similar, but the rest...
King and the rook.
Slightly more centralized knights, fianchettoed bishops already on the far right there.
And the queen and rook. The queen was next to the king, I think, in the first one.
And we see the players analysing position with the white queen coming out very early, going for Swaller's mate. Okay, Magnus getting involved, not just sitting at the board himself this time. Is this the first time we've seen him actually discussing with his fellow players?
You got to change something up after what just happened in the last round.
And just for everyone's clarification, this group we're looking at right here will be playing the white side of the board.
This is an
Magnus's
epic
group, and then this group over here with Fabiano, Hikaru are going to be playing the black pieces.
Magnus, Nodebeg discussing together, analyzing a position together.
Just doing some debugging of one kind.
And I mean, there's so many options, right? Even on move 1 alone, it's intriguing to me to see the players analysing just a kind of a random position 5 moves later, 5 moves in, because it's so unlikely to happen. But I guess these few minutes is just a nice way to de-stress.
And a lot of this, I think it's very tempting to push the central pawns, right? Either the queen's pawn, well in this case literally the queen's pawn, the d pawn going up to the 4th rank, or the one on the rook file with the e pawn moving ahead to e4, opening up ideas of the knight jumping behind. It feels like the position just optically, Levy, where getting harmony in piece development should happen fast and quick.
Yeah, I kind of like, you know, 2 center pawns for white, like e4, f4, and then just bring your knights. Maybe we're gonna get. I still think this is going to be a centered game. We're not gonna have any Sicilians or anything like that. It doesn't make sense for black or white really to play c2 to c4 because you have no other.
Did you see that, Levy? They're discussing the king's gambit on our screen.
Yeah, which makes sense.
Levon is drinking his Harry Potter butter beer.
Yeah, the sparkling beverages here are like from another.
I think
planet.
that's apple juice actually. I saw that at breakfast.
Oh, I drank a lavender infused sparkling drink.
Oh, That's amazing.
Me too, but with cucumber. It was amazing.
The food here
Like
is
a
on another level. Just it's delicious.
The breakfast is
Yes.
awesome, yeah.
Oh, it's so good.
No excuse to be 0 out of 2, guys. I mean, the food is too good to be 0 out of 2. Let's get some points.
But it's fascinating they're discussing these openings that they recognize from classical chess, and they're both, I mean, the trio here, they're getting excited, right? Just
Berlin.
the creativity.
Like accelerated Gleck system, E4, E5, G3.
Well, so here they are exploring symmetry. Back to the idea of.
Yeah.
Yes, that is how the knight moves.
Yeah, and also who breaks it, right? It feels as if white will get that central break in the starting position that we have with the rooks and the queens lined up on the central lines.
Of course, Vincent, I told you there's a pawn on G3 and a pawn on G6.
I just noticed that Magnus is the only one who got a jacket color change for this year.
Ooh.
Wait, say that again.
From the Go Chess Challenge. He's in white, right?
Yes.
In white.
That's
You
a
got to
fresh
change
new
it
jacket.
okay, but not of, okay.
Not of what?
Under the garment that covers the legs.
It reminds me of boy bands in the UK in like the 60s, 70s with the white jacket, and maybe even the 90s. But yeah, interesting. What are the predictions? Are they all going to play the exact same opening, these three players then? In front
So
of us?
that's E4 is what they're looking at.
Yeah, it looks
right?
like a lot of focus on the E4 square.
Makes a lot of sense, right? You've got that knight from F1 jumping behind the pawn towards the central squares at some point. You have the break coming in from that D pawn. I think we're going to get a couple of E4 and I would say D4 as well.
Pawn is 0-2, but I got to say, unperturbed, and it's infectious. That he's always upbeat, and it's not he's just confident in he's enjoying himself. And for him, 2 games, there's many more games left. He's enjoying the process of analysis, living in the moment, and I really like to see that.
He had this exact same narrative last year at the Go Chess Challenge in Weissenhaus, where he started really slow in the round robin and then picked it up and finished 3rd finally at the end of the tournament, just behind Magnus and Fabi. So great run at the end. So you might pick up form
You
again.
can't hear me.
Here they are now
I'm
considering.
making the
Daniel's
mistake of
just
eating.
eating.
No, it's just a dried apricot.
Guys, I'm actually going to break the 4th wall. I only packed 1 pair of shoes on this trip, and I discovered today that one of them is falling apart. So I had plans to take a quick taxi ride to a shoe store, and it's
Which is the
closing.
nearest one? Is it?
It's like 15 minutes away, but it closes soon because it's Germany. So I need to go get new shoes. I will let you fly the plane home. I'm gonna
You're going to be missed.
This is a great time to take off my gear because we have the players on the camera and not me stripping off my microphone and headset. But maybe I'll get back.
Yeah, we'll hold on the players for a bit. Well, oh, never mind. We're gonna watch you.
Oh, that's really
Mike.
okay. That's really,
Just wanted to check out on those shoes before we lose them. Like
Yeah,
that's
no. Yeah,
we gotta see you one more time before we let you go.
I'll sign them for the.
I'll try to sneak her in another bite while you're taking this.
Yeah. You have your
go.
microphone off, or are you chewing into the microphone?
Chew very.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I had 3 dried apricots today.
Oh, and they're still analyzing. Is there a first move on that board? I don't.
Not at the moment. They've reset all the pieces. They went through a whole combination here where it was like 8 to 10 moves of only pawn pushes they were considering. Not a single minor piece coming out.
First move mathematically?
Are we about to lose Levy?
Yes, there are. I think.
Okay. Well, chat, this is your time to say bye to Levy. He'll be back with Levy. You're going to join us soon, hopefully.
I hope so. Once I have my new shoes on.
There you go. He'll look nice and fresh.
No jeans.
New kicks.
Is that a theory code? I have a very similar.
I think it's a Hugo Boss. No, it's All Saints. It's All Saints. But yeah, we don't need to have our wardrobe discussions on here right now.
There's no theory shirts here at the Freestyle Challenge. There's no theory, but there are shirts.
And we've got the king spawn here as well. So I think e4 might, well, I have to stop saying the king spawn, the rook spawn here.
Yeah.
e4, I think we're going to see that on a lot of boards. And look at that, what Magnus just did there. David, did you catch that? He always wants to place the knight behind a pawn advance.
Always. Hikaru is on record that saying actually bringing your knight out too early in front of your pawns is a big mistake. Not just a small strategic thing, because if you develop your knights before pawns, then a knight on your 3rd rank can be dominated by an opponent's pawn on their 6th rank.
Ooh,
So,
more so in regular chess, bishop comes out to the 3rd rank. It's bad here more so the knight. Sorry.
Well, no, I was going to say, I imagine made all that much worse in this position because that knight's not only blockading your own pawn, but the rook behind it, right? You know, and so now you've got 2 pieces that are going to struggle to get out if you do bring that knight out early.
you lose a lot of flexibility.
Speaking of flexibility, did you see Fabi there getting a leg day in, the way he was sitting and analyzing?
You need to work out. Get your 10,000 steps in during the games.
Seeing the way Magnus is moving the pieces, I got to get at least one blitz game with him over the board and on this trip.
And still analyzing. You know, getting really into it here.
You're like, nah, that's not gonna happen.
Well, so we as well as the players putting a lot of focus on E4 initially, but how and when does the D pawn come into play then, if E4 is the way that we open up? Because obviously we still want to find a way for our bishop to get involved, and that would be one of the ways to open the line of the bishop if we're not going to choose to push the pawn in front of the king.
Yeah, I think White would love to get E4 and D4, as you say.
Both.
So
okay.
Basically, Black's reply will be to try and stop D4 for White. That's hence the symmetry that the players were discussing on that practice.
I'm glad he's playing the White.
Gotcha. well, the jacket.
That's an interesting way to hang the jacket, right? It's he just
yeah. The jacket comes off here for Magnus Carlsen up against Vincent Keimer here in the third round of our freestyle chess round robin, and this will be the matchup that we key into first to see what the answers will be for both of our players. Magnus, of course, playing the white side of it, getting a little refreshment,
twisting off of sparkling water.
Yeah, stay hydrated, y'all. That's important.
Actually, I realized
us in here as well.
San Pellegrino here. Actually, I might not be able to reach it.
Well, and the interesting thing is Magnus versus Vincent, these two players are not at the top of the leaderboard. We've got Fabi, who's leading with 2 points right now. He's up against Nodebek, and I vote that as another game.
May I, for you?
I'd love to be hydrated right now. Thank you.
Wait,
no.
Do you have a glass?
No, I don't. That's fine. You can have it. Thank you.
There we go. Get that sorted out.
Ponzi scheme, someone's going to end up with
priorities.
I've made off with too many.
But, in the meantime, it is fascinating.
That's good.
Okay, we will be starting with Magnus Carlsen against Vincent Keimer, it looks like. And for Magnus, James, I just never see him lose 2 in a row.
Okay, all right. So if you're a betting man, it's got to be on Magnus in this one. And of course, with the handshake and the clock beginning right away into that E4 push here.
It's the one they were looking at. It's on the board. And will Vincent answer with symmetry? Yes, he does. Once again, that knight landing to that central square behind the pawn is also a big idea to control more squares on the board.
The accelerated Gleck makes an appearance. And I like to say in these cases, the bishop on h1 and the pawn on e4, the pawn on e4 won. And the pawn on e4, they work like a team. So controlling the same square, they work like a single unit. And but first, we must enjoy.
Well, we just have to.
This tournament, I just want everybody.
Yeah, we have to remind everybody what a titanic force Magnus is, and for a lot of these players, right?
I mean,
you're stepping into the arena with the best total or no short order, really. But as we can return to the board, we can see the symmetry continue here as we go G3 for G3, which is I don't even remember seeing this play out as we were peeking in with the players in the way that they were kind of theorizing the matchup.
They hosted a G7 summit here years ago. Foreign minister.
Speaking of a summit, Nodebek has pretty much drawn one on the board. And I suggest we move to that because it's a really interesting one. Similar idea. Look at this. Look at the pawn formation that's there. It's a bit of a mountaintop with Nodebek with the white pieces.
They all attended my lecture this morning.
Lecture. Someone stop Daniel.
I think that's my 6th time making that pun.
Okay, so it's going to be.
I'm eager to make all the puns.
It is Fabiano though who will choose to break the symmetry there.
And we see a lot of symmetry. You mentioned that word, James, on most of the boards.
Really
actually,
put some of these games under the microscope. I mean, there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
This one, Nodebek's just limiting himself to pawn moves, but the bishop is already like fianchettoed, which we should refer to a bishop on h1 as being essentially fianchettoed. You don't need to play bishop g2.
Yeah, I think it looks peculiar to see only pawn see pawn moves, but as you mentioned, the bishop is kind of already nicely set up, and now you have 2 beautiful squares where the knights can tuck in behind those pawns, right?
Big threat.
That's a threat.
It's exactly what they tell you in battle strategy, right? The infantry goes first, the cavalry comes in behind, pawns first, knights then coming next. Fabiano trying to do the same. He's stacked up his knights like that, and
around the time you decide to play a4.
Well, chess is a game of war, and each of these folks here playing the role of general, right? Commanding their forces forward.
Exactly.
Katana's been settled on the king side. All right, we need to move this affair over. I wouldn't be surprised at a4. We've discussed a4, rook a3. It's not a troll maneuver in freestyle chess at all. You need the space again in case the battle transitions to the queen side, which it might, which is, of course, in this case, the king side.
Yeah,
we should just the west.
East-west.
Castles to the east.
Yeah, I mean, either way, the last time, so back in game 1 of today, we should mention Magnus Carlsen, Hikaru Nakamura, we were following their game. They also started with rooks in the corner, the kings next to it on this flank, and neither side castled then. So I don't expect us to have to worry about castling the kings anytime soon, but you never know. Still very flexible. But now, after a trade of pawns in the center, it's very blocked. That means it's going to be very much about maneuvering.
Yeah. Two semi-open files, right? The D and the F file.
All right, well, this one, it's developing the way we had predicted with the knights behind the pawns and still no big break yet. Is it a good moment to check in with Ali Reza and Hikaru? Because that one's exploded.
For 1 second.
Let's do it.
People today, 45. It sometimes is played. It doesn't mean the players are screwing around. They're activating their rooks. But yes, let's check into Hikaru Farouja. That is the marquee matchup.
It's a really fun one as well.
Wow. And only a half joke there from you, Daniel, because the queens are already off the board here.
But we need to take this from the start.
Pawn on e5. Yeah, let's do an action replay.
Okay. If that's okay, of course.
Absolutely. Back it all up. Oh, so we had the d4 start here.
The only d4. Everyone else is e4.
And it's crazy how different the landscape can be based just like on 2 moves. This position already looks. I would never think it's the same starting position, but it is. Bishop, again, this bishop e6 move. David, you were right. The bishop comes out to the 6th rank very often, not the knights. E4. How did they trade queens?
Probably a trade on e5. Off the board, attacks the pawn, defends the pawn, breaks the center.
Big trades. I mean, to my untrained eye, this looks like a solid position for white. A really nice pawn chain controlling a lot of space, and obviously we have that rook just staring down the D file.
Connect 4, James, my favorite.
Even to my trained eye, it does also look nice for white.
Okay.
The real trained eye thinks it's equal.
Yeah. I mean, it must just be the king placement. The fact that the black king is ready to castle, that means the black rook in the top left corner ready to get into the game, whereas white still needs to do some organization around with his king still a few pieces asleep. Other than that, I think long term, very much favoring white, as you mentioned, James. But short term, Hikaru with his last move, creating some tension, fighting back.
Yeah, also just feels like nice opportunities to utilize both bishops, right? You slide that bishop out to like e3, and now you have great sight lines towards the king side of the board.
There's more combinations in freestyle involving castling as an integral part of them. In classical chess, it happens, but rare. Yeah. In freestyle, like you could see, for instance, let's say this bishop comes out. You could envision a scenario where you play rook takes d7, and bishop takes d7, and then long castle and get the rook to d1. So it's a little bit more common. I saw it a lot in Freestyle Friday.
And that could also think about putting that king on c8 and going long castle, in this case, sort of the castle on the c square, by getting the king on c8 and the rook on d8 and just defending everything in the center.
Castle. Wow, we're going to see something like that for sure at some point.
All right, so this is sort of the queens traded off. It's going to be a bit of a grindy position and a long game. Should we zoom out, get our bird's eye view up? Let's do an overview of everything and then choose and pick a position we want to go to.
I like that idea. Yeah, we can pull back, see all of the boards here. Look for anything jumping out at us. Of course, the other 4 boards that we're looking at were those e4 starts as compared to the d4 starts.
All of them. I mean, Fedoseev Sindarov is interesting. You know why? Because it's 0-2 against 2-0. Can we maybe...
Let's go there. Let's go there.
Or not. It is...
Total symmetry. Copycat chess.
We just need to look at this position because it is a spectacle on its own, but... I mean, is Rook F8 really going to be played?
Yeah, that's full-on mirror copycat chess, right, if he goes Rook F8. But it might be time to stop doing that because white's the one that strikes with F4 first. That's what he's setting
F5.
up.
Where FE, but then eventually something's going to be a check. The rules of chess will interfere.
Well, you take on d6.
And then I take on d3, you take on c7, check.
Yes, the first to check.
I eat you first, yeah.
First move advantage here. So somewhere the symmetry gets broken, and I think he has to think about F4 now.
Wait.
It's coming up.
Fabiano is apparently doing really well. Can we look?
Yeah. we'll come back to this one when someone stops copying the other.
Let's go, because apparently something has happened.
Oh, fun.
Intel. Yes.
Knights ahead
Wow,
of their
look at those.
Sorry.
Who's on which side of the board?
That white knight looks nice, but it's about to get kicked back and it's almost trapped. So I'm not really liking what Nodebek has done, I've got to say.
G5, A5, and then C6.
Also,
Actually, though.
the black knight on an outpost can never be challenged by a pawn. The white knight retreating.
Yeah.
Oh, this just looks fantastic for Fabi. He's going to push his A pawn. He's going to do, he's going to do all sorts of things. White has no plan, no pawn breaks, no life, no dynamism to his position.
Caruana.
Wow,
Knight
just
G2 has to be. Oh,
That's
Let's
he's
show
looking.
not
He's
pretty.
bullying that knight with pawns right now.
like I didn't volunteer for that, says the bishop. I was happy doing nothing on H1. But knight H5, we should show. Like I'm actually going to put this on the board. I will put this on the board, not they. Knight H5, bishop G4, bishop G4, because this bishop cannot block. On F3, it's square is defended twice. You lose the knight, which honestly doesn't sound too bad, because this knight is an insult. I mean, still bishop G4, knight F3, Tanya.
it's been played, knight G2, and it looks awful because you're not only with a dead knight, you're with a dead bishop as well. And the thing about Fabi is, right, he's just so good at this format, at Fisher Random, at Freestyle Chess. He's also been the winner of Chess 9LX in St. Louis. He's won that a couple of times. Last year, he was runners-up, only lost to Magnus in the finals. And he's showing domination so far on this day one. Not just the scoreline, but also the way he's been winning. It just feels very strong chess, a very strong freestyle chess.
He's been. He had a bad Tata Steel, but chess fans love to. If one tournament erases like 2 years, you can be in good form tournament after tournament. One bad tournament, yep, Fabi's not the same. It's just not the same Fabi. I think he's washed up. No. He's very confident. He's done all the diagnosis that he needs. He's in a good mood this tournament. He's just feeling the vibe.
He's locked in. Look at that, 95% accuracy through this point in the game.
Not too bad.
Not too bad.
I mean, it was a statement as well, beating Magnus, getting revenge for, last year, but also getting revenge for that Singapore match, Tanya.
There's no bigger confidence boost than beating Magnus, right? And like you said, we were there in Singapore, and that felt like a Magnus Carlsen show. Just a month ago, the match against Fabi. It was sort of the announcement of the Grand Slam tour. And Fabi gets his revenge very quickly. But look at what we've got on the board. This looks fantastic for black.
He's actually taunting him, just showing how bad the knight is. I'm going to go back to live position. I apologize. H6 was played to illustrate that this knight. What do I say about this knight? Rook F1, knight E1. You have to.
Right. But even then.
H3 now. F5. There's so many choices.
You trying to reroute E1 to F3? Because otherwise you have to push the c-pawn to try and get the knight out the other direction. I feel claustrophobic. I feel like I've been penned
G4 and then go back around somehow.
Claustrophobic's the perfect word here, Jay.
Yeah.
But even after black puts a pawn on G4, when the white knight has to yo-yo back and forth, the white bishop on H1, that is stuck for life, pretty much. So this is really, really terrible. Oh, look at that. You pin. You don't win, but you at least rub it in. And,
that knight is there for good.
Yeah. Stuck in the mud. Oh, beautiful. This is kind of, again, just like that Magnus game, the kind of the definition of great freestyle chess strategy. Just tie down your opponent's pieces, fix them in the corner.
Yeah, getting a quick bird's eye view of the other boards, and back we go into the Nodebek and Caruana game. Looking for Caruana to find a way to put an end to it. So while he does have an advantage, we've seen things swing before, right? And so...
Yeah, he still needs to turn it into something tangible.
Exactly.
A material advantage or a big attack. Or
Hardest part, right? And that's where the blunders happen, because you get impatient and some knight F4 comes in, sacking the knight. Suddenly all the pieces come out. In fact, that might be a pre-move in a bullet game. No, I'm serious, completely serious. Knight F4 is a positional threat.
How exactly do we get our rook and our queen involved here, though, for black? Do you just is this a position where you want to bring the queen out to F6, offer the trade, getting your bishop out at the same time? It's a little hard to lift your queen out because of the control that the white pawns have in the center. In terms of ending it, right? We can't end it with just our knight and our bishop on the other side of the board. We have to get some of our other pieces involved.
Queen F6, what do you think? Queen takes D4, knight C4.
Oof, tricks. Yeah, I mean, the black queen can just move 1-2 squares down, d7, d6, and then just castle. Just get the black rook in the corner into the game. Everything's mobilized then, and then you decide what to do later.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I mean,
Knowing when
Fabi, he's
to
a more
trade
direct
queens,
player.
one of the most difficult skills. The trade can be a weapon when used in the right hands,
Yeah.
or a great folly. Depends who's doing the trading.
I would trade just because I'm boring and I like my endgames, but you do have more space. They tell you not to trade pieces when your opponent's cramped and claustrophobic.
Right, usually
Trade your price for anything.
general rule defending player is happy to trade off those powerful pieces, right, to reduce the threats.
Just to free up space in their own camp. If
It's also the kind of position that Nodebek hates playing, right? He's always looking for counterplay and counter activity. And with the white pieces, where is he going to find it? That last move does hint at him trying to free up that knight. He wants to reroute it to that f3 square. Will he have enough time to get that piece activity before Fabi can, like you guys are talking about, get the queen into the game, get the rook into the game? Because Nodebek right now is not enjoying life.
I think that's why Fabi's gone into a long think now. He's just trying to come up with that kind of 5-step plan.
Knight f4. I'm just a broken,
Well, how about that? Because now we maybe look to offer that f6 queen trade, and instead it's the rook sitting on f6 as opposed to the bishop.
It would be insane if knight f4 happened. I mean, what are the chances, David? Just offering a free piece,
It's not a
but changing the dynamics.
That's Gavrek. I mean, is this... But knight f4, GF actually looks... This is why I confine my activities to the bullets arena, but it looks pretty good for white, because the bishop on h3 could get trapped. Now, maybe knight f4, rook f6 is being planned. At that point, knight takes h3 is possible. You need to choose the lesser evil.
Let's do arrows. Let's show the ideas that you're talking about.
I can make the move. So
let's
knight
do
f4.
it.
And it's actually not crazy to visualize. Suddenly the pieces start to breathe. You got rid of that knight, just excised it from the board. And if, let's say, the knight goes back, for the sake of simplicity, you have, well, there's tricks too, queen f3 maybe, and suddenly the bishop's trapped.
Oh, wow.
You win the piece, but that's not even the, even if you didn't win the piece back, f5, you can see how this could get dangerous. So we're saying that maybe
Is he going to do
rook
it?
f6 is being planned.
But is he going to play knight f4? This is the big question right now.
Let's go back to live board. Just
Let's
so we can
go
catch
back.
the move.
Let's do a little vote here. Oh, he's made his decision?
Oh.
It's the knight the other way.
Okay.
He has gone knight e1. Fake. Pump fake.
That's very uncharacteristic,
Whoa.
I would say. Very un-Nordebek to retreats, and okay, he's
I'm
clearly got a
curious what the
complete
computer
idea.
move was. I'm actually going to check. Is that okay?
Sure.
It was.
Best move was...
Drum roll.
It's the gerbils. It was
Computer's
knight
thinking.
e1 followed by knight f4. They're about the same. I'm serious.
Wow.
Knight e1 minus 1.12, knight f4 minus 1.20. So as usual, I said the second best move.
Two best moves. That's why we've got Nodebek, and we've got you to help us out here as well. So you guys coming up with the best moves in the position, and the
I'm
rook
very
lines up.
passionate about giving that knight away.
Rook lines up against the queen. There's pressure on that F line. David.
Yeah, there's all sorts of tricks here because you're walking into a pin. You've self-pinned the black rook, the white queen. There's awkward tension. And you can attack this white knight that's now a bit stuck with either your pawn or the black light squared bishop. And either way, I think Nodebek's going to put his dark squared bishop on f4. He's going to pin himself. There's going to be some chaos there.
Question, why can't you take on d4? Queen takes pawn.
It's black's move.
Yeah.
Oh, that would
Yeah.
explain a lot, yes. Wow, so you not only double down on that knight, it's also your move to make.
Yeah. I think we have to show that, Daniel. Maybe we just put it on the board quickly, like pawn to g4 or bishop to g4.
Yeah, no, I'm looking.
Bishop f4.
I'm checking what the chat is thinking. I mean,
Oh.
he showed a lot of lines, so let's show pawn to g4, bishop to g4. And wait, what is the?
Bishop f4?
Because for some reason, I was distracted by queen takes d4.
Yeah, why not queen takes
Oh.
pawn?
Sorry, I didn't
that
mean
is
to
the whole point.
Steal your thunder.
Hey.
Queen e5.
Yeah. Yeah, we have to
go for
protect that
complicated
pawn.
when you
It's like they actually feel tall. Like, Mika, why are you feeling bad? Like, we treated you such a good dinner. Everything's perfect. I haven't sacrificed anything today.
I thought it was white's move, and I suggested the same idea one move ago.
Yeah,
Queen takes pawn, is that
but this is
possible
a
here?
beautiful move. Look at this move. Because gf knight e5, the joke's on the rook.
I just saw some fancy stuff. I forgot the simple basics.
Wait, bishop f4? Is that the basics?
Oh, that was no. This was the complex solution I was trying to find, rather
But
than.
maybe if you
queen
start
takes
with g4, now you can play rook takes f4. And then knight takes f3. I don't like it. Because here are the two pieces for a rook. I mean, the other rooks are dead. We can just cancel them out. You know, like the 2's in a fraction. And the bishops are not exactly producing a great impression.
Yeah, normally
Doesn't look like a Van Gogh or like a Kramer.
Yeah, normally the two bishops would, like 99% of the time, overpower a rook, but here they just look
As my coach used to say, there are no bad bishops, there are only bad players.
Oh, that's probably true. But if we go back to the live position, it's key moment for Fabi, who's really
he's chewing through his time.
Yeah.
But that's very instructive, right? Because he knows that this is sort of the decisive moment in the game where he can end up with a huge advantage, one that it's really hard for Nordebek to come from. He needs to calculate all these tactics of allowing a piece on f4 or the d4 pawn falling. He's done everything right so far.
Look at the time disparity.
But he really realizes that this is the moment.
Yeah. That speaks to his game sense, right? Yeah, speaks to his game sense.
Even as a move in Queen f6. But then still there's something to f4. Yeah. No, he's losing the thread. He doesn't see a move.
He's played it. What?
Rook f3.
No, not rook f4. Rook f3.
I don't think. It doesn't feel like this works, just to me.
This was your idea. You just mentioned it and you pinned that bishop. Are you about to win that bishop?
Or maybe the other one. What about bishop f4, gf, and g4?
H. Oh,
this is where Nordebek invests most of his time advantage.
Or plays instantly.
And either way, playing instantly would have a huge psychological impact on Fabi. But either way, he needs a good move.
Yeah, and there's a direct threat on the board. You have to stop the queen and the knight from picking up that bishop on f3. You can't take the pawn on d4 because then the knight jumps forward and captures the bishop. Just want to point out, after queen takes pawn, don't capture the bishop with the queen. There's a checkmate in one on d8. You got to keep that square.
And you can't castle out
bishop
of check,
c8. There's still
Nepa
bishop.
will tell you. There's always bishop c8.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just spotted that. Oh, then queen d6 would be checkmate.
I love the on the board, guys.
Show us.
Let's show that line.
Beautiful. So bishop f4.
No, you start with queen takes pawn.
Queen takes. Okay, Queen takes. Bishop is the best illustration. Now, nope, not queen d6. Don't go after the rook. First, you fill the hole, fill the cavity, and then queen does it all by herself. And you cannot, no shenanigans.
Wow.
Mate, it's not Bughouse. It's not. Look at this. And you haven't castled. That's the problem.
That's game over. You're checkmating.
Wow.
Or you lose your queen. Neither of which is a enticing possibility.
Queen takes pawn on the board. What does he want after rook g8?
King c7. Knight takes f3.
And now white cannot castle because the white king would have to move into check.
There's no way Fabi misses this. He has to play king c7.
Don't go bishop c8. I think he just spotted bishop c8, bishop g4. Did you see that?
But king c7
and he pauses.
Is great for black.
But he paused. His idea was to go back with the bishop. Did you see that?
I think black is winning here. This is the cruel joke because knight f3 threatens knight d2 and black's going for mate.
Wow.
Knight d2, knight b3. You have a draw in your pocket.
You can trade off the queens. You can pocket that rook in the corner. Bishops versus rook. Oh wait, the bishop in the corner is hanging as well. Bishop on h8 is hanging.
Yeah, pieces falling all over the place, hanging pieces left and right. But it is
like
queen
and bishop e5.
Yeah, or vice versa.
Oh, bishop c8 is very interesting.
Bishop c8.
And white will have to castle to get the rook into the game. So the shortest queenside castle, the shortest long castle, and get that rook as quickly as you can.
Knight d2, king c1, knight b3, king b1. I don't have time to show it, but that might be a bad thing because two minor pieces are hanging. You can take one rook. Again, Mikhail Tal. I sack all my pieces, but you can only take one at a time.
Maybe we do have time to show it. Fabi's thinking. I'm expecting to move bishop to e5 into the center.
He does it. He does it.
Yeah, he took over I was going to show a move. How dare he play a move with 1 minute on the clock?
And we're going to see the line that you wanted to show. So the players are playing it out for you, Daniel. Bishop takes queen, stopping that castle, and now the idea of knight d2, knight b3 winning
See
material.
this all the time. 3 pieces against 2 rooks, of course.
I mean, it's freestyle chess. We normally see queen versus 2 rooks, and then there's always a debate. What's better? Queen worth 9, rooks worth 10, but queen's such a powerful piece here. The 3 pieces are worth 9. There's 3 of them. Only 2 rooks. It's
phenomenal move. C3.
So rare.
Look at that. Opening the center, which is good for the rooks, and king c2.
It's so much of this dynamic, David, the one that you're mentioning with 9 versus 10 points, right? Mathematically, white should be doing fine, but it depends on piece activity. And look at Fabi's pieces, all lined up against the white king.
And not just that. I mean, I think as the game goes on and there are fewer pieces on the board, a piece number changes, in my mind, changes the valuation of the pieces. Yes, there are 3 points of material, but I now have 3 minor pieces with which I can coordinate as opposed to only 2 that have to get all of the work done on the other side.
Yeah, those rooks, I mean, they're literally...
And they're stuck.
Opposite of coordinating.
There's mate patterns. Knight e1, cd, bishop f1, but white plays a4. And rooks have a property where they always come in at the right moment and spoil the party. Like once they're in the game, they're sweeping all the pawns.
It's far away though, right? And quality over quantity. Look at the quality of the two rooks and look at the quality of the minor pieces. Compare that and it's easy to see that Fabi's pushing, but he doesn't have all the time in the world.
Now. I don't know why.
King goes up, the rook comes into the game, and maybe it's not all that bad for white. Do you have enough time to put more pressure here is the big question. Fabi, he has to find a way. Or Nordebek equalizes.
Not enough time on the clock, but he jumps in deep behind enemy lines here. He's going pawn hunting Fabi. He's going to try and at least win 1 or 2 pawns before the white rooks get out, into the
beautiful tactics here. I mean, 3 pieces like d4. There's all sorts of moves you'd love to consider if you had more than 24 seconds.
d4, maybe we will find out what the players are considering.
Check or maybe we can see if there's any new results.
Well, we got 18 seconds on the clock here for Fabi.
I'm just looking to update anybody, but no, this is the most interesting game.
Also, that knight just stopped the white king from coming to a very important square on c2. He does grab a pawn. Does this give Nordebek time to step up with the king to b2 and get that rook on the h line?
Yeah, that's an odd pawn to grab. I thought he would go hunting for others, more relevant pawns.
Yeah, because b2 also effectively threatens the knight on e1, right? With the rook. So you activate the rook at the same time.
Can white go castle here?
White can still castle.
I completely forgot about that.
I think the players have forgotten about it. Otherwise, that's a great move, Tanya.
Isn't it? But that king on c1, the rook on d1.
No, I'm still, you don't understand where my brain is. I'm still like playing this move in my head, and I keep convincing it is legal.
Yeah. There is still a bishop to f4 check, and it's still complicated, but are we going to see long castle here? Well, I keep calling it long castle. Are we going to see king to see castle here?
No, it is long castle. Like, in Russian, you say long castle is the only way to refer to it.
Yeah, I think the thing is you're asking these players in a fairly intense moment to even remember that as a possibility.
So easy to forget.
And I think that it would be very easy.
It's on the board!
See, on chess.com,
let's go!
We could put the king on the rook, and nobody will know you made an illegal move. Here.
Wow.
Unbelievable. Tanya, that was that was a great moment. That's going to be in the highlights today.
Phenomenal. Yeah, knight now having to retreat. Obviously, these
the game is not over.
No, it's not. Now that the rook is out, it's far from over. Nordebek is back in this game.
How do we get we got to get the A8 rook involved though, right?
At H5.
Well, and there you have it. Gets involved.
Nice call. 2,700 here, James.
I'm riding all y'all's coattails, let's be honest.
But now
bishop f4, bishop g4, and then h5, h4, h3, h2 can be played.
How does Nordebek have 4 extra minutes on the clock right now? That is insane time management.
Chess warrior.
Absolutely. Wow.
With some numbers after it.
Slides the bishop back here to
rook h1 and sack on h6. Get rid of that pawn.
Okay, he pushes. Oh no, he brings his rook back.
Ooh, bishop e6 cannot play d5. There's a fork.
Oh, Fabi's let this one slip. Wow. This is turning.
Whoa, rook f1. Oh my gosh.
It really feels like that, right?
He's issued the retreat orders. Everybody's returning to base at this point.
And white's pass pawns will prevail, I think.
So if the knight moves back, are you expecting him to give up an exchange?
Depends where the knight goes.
Well, let's say h4.
If knight h4, maybe first king d3, and then rook at some point, rook f7.
It's an idea in the air, and it does go to h4. Will Nordebek rush with rook takes pawn? I don't think it's the time just yet. Get that king into the game. Fabi, you can tell he's feeling the pressure right now on the board and the clock.
Good call. On the
b5
move.
and only now.
Well, the a2 pawn is hanging as well. Completely forgot about that one.
But now he's c4, then I think would have blocked the bishop out. No, this is
check.
Now the white e pawn will start running. The only pass pawn.
Still.
Wow.
I wouldn't put a4 past Nordebek.
Or rook to g7, maybe. Either way, okay, he pushes his pawn. Fabi, just no time to think. I mean, he's still coordinating really nicely. Okay, he lost his initiative, shaking his head.
44 seconds.
But that e-pawn, right, it's going to stop at on the 6th rank. You can't cross over just yet. You need that king to march closer towards the black pieces.
And what's he worried about? King e4, knight e7 is some sort of... Imagine, yes, quote unquote. We know someone who doesn't believe in them also in this tournament. What a beautiful view.
Yeah.
Sorry, the idea there, king e4, knight e7, is just that the king can no longer advance any further after that because it's protected by the knight. Okay.
Yeah, very instructive there.
A drink of water, you know, things are stable.
Yeah, and Nordebek thinking up to 44 seconds on the clock now for Fabiano.
Is there a sense that Nordebek might have rushed a little bit too much, like at least on the clock? the last few moves. He did have options.
I didn't see that E7 is blockaded.
Yeah.
Tanya, you mentioned that possibility. Looked very tempting, but what now?
To push the pawn forward, but you don't have enough time to do that. He first gets the rook behind the black pawn, now coming in with the king. Wait, did he just slide back?
He did.
Defending that c pawn.
Fabi had the option there to repeat the position. He could have gone back and forth, checking the white king back to the center. Fabi is the one playing for a win. Yet again now.
David, you put that a pawn on a4, that knight stays on d5. You're stopping the e pawn from moving anywhere further. I think Fabi once again has found the balance. If anything, he can be the one pushing for the win now.
Well, and this is where you're kind of hurting for an extra minor piece, right? On the side
on the save, I think, yeah. Can I check for 5 seconds?
Let's do it.
Absolutely.
Let's do it.
Oh, there we go. And he's 3-0, and Pedasev's 0-3.
Wow.
And very quickly, just around the horn so that everybody can know what the position. This is Gukesh Aronian. It's an endgame complicated, but not as interesting as Fabi. And then Magnus versus Keimer. Magnus versus Keimer is very interesting. Where should we go?
What was the clock situation on the Magnus board?
Vincent has no time, and Magnus